All right. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to the Digital Navigators of the Hudson Valley information session. We're very glad to have you. I'm just going to say from the start, I am going to acknowledge that my voice is not its full voice right now. I've got a laryngitis that is just that's been hanging out with me since Thanksgiving, and it just won't go. So I'm going to do my best, but I do have some system staff here who might be able to be my backup and help out, but we'll get through this. And a lot of the purpose of this is to answer some of your questions. So hopefully it won't just be me talking at you the whole time. Move to the next slide. Whoops. How are you? Well, that's cool. I linked, look at that, y'all. I linked my slide to our website, but by doing that, I've created a small problem for myself. All right. Slideshow. There we go. All right, great. Here we are. Today's agenda. We're going to start off with some staff introductions so that you get to know all of us on the system staff if you don't already know us. We're going to go over what a digital navigator is, and then we have some actual digital navigators here. We're going to give some testimonial of their experience, and then we're going to go over some of the details of what we're doing with our Hudson Valley Digital Navigator program, and then there'll be time for you to do Q&A. So I'm going to start off by we'll do introductions, and we can sort of roughly do it in this order on the screen here. I am Carolyn Bennett-Glauda. I'm the Program and Outreach Manager at Southeastern New York Library Resources Council. If you're not familiar with us, we are a multi-type library membership organization, and we represent libraries from the 9-county region of the Hudson Valley, which is the same overlapping geography as if you put RCLS and Mid-Hudson together. We have been managing the Digital Navigator program since 2022 when we got an ARPA grant, and our executive director, Tessa Killian, who can't be here right now, she's been doing a lot of the work to get everything up and running and does a lot of the budgeting in the background and has been my guide star through all of this. So hopefully you'll get a chance to meet her too at some point. So from here, I'm going to throw it to Megan at RCLS.
Everyone, I am the Community and Digital Equity Consultant at RCLS, and this is my first time going through the Digital Navigator program. I did not do it as a participant when I was in a library, so it's very interesting for this to be my first taste of it, and I can't wait to tell you how my mind has come around, but we'll get to that later.
Kirsten, I'll go to you next.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Kirsten Kruger. I'm the Outreach and Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Specialist at the Mid-Hudson Library System. We have been lucky enough to have participants in the Digital Navigator program from the very first cohort moving on. We're very proud to have them work through this program as mentors as well as mentees and bringing in new people. If you have any questions, please always reach out to us here at the Mid-Hudson Library System, even if maybe you're not from our system, and we're happy to send you over to the system in which you belong, or we're happy to point you in the right direction at the very least.
Thanks. And Linda, I think I saw you here. Are you here?
Yep, I'm here on my screen. I'm right next to you. Hi, excuse me. Like everybody else, I'm sick. Hi, everyone. My name is Linda Smith. I'm Outreach Manager at the Westchester Library System. I was in one of the previous cohorts before as kind of like observer / participant, but I did the Digital Navigator transactions, and I really do think this is a really, really good and important program, and basically tell your friends, get more and more people in. And I know some Westchester people signed up. I'm trying to get more Westchester people signed up, so if you know Westchester people, you send them this way.
Awesome. Thanks, Linda. And also on this slide, but not here, Zoom, are Low, and they are our trainers from NDIA, and run the, and then once a month they run an office hours. So next slide is, what is a digital navigator? So this is a definition that comes to us from NDIA, the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. And digital navigators are all across the country. It's not a term that they've like trademarked or anything, but they are the premier host of Digital Navigator programs and support staff for Digital Navigators. So they're individuals who address the whole digital inclusion process. That's home connectivity, devices, and digital skills with community members through repeated interactions. And digital navigators are familiar with resources that relate to digital equity, and they help residents learn to use critical online services that provide guidance with social services. And digital navigators are able to assess a community member's need and competently guide them towards resources that are suitable both for their skill level and lifestyle. And so this program will take those of you who are already meeting with or interacting with members of the public and give you some of the guidance and training that you need to add this skill set onto whatever you are already doing to work with people. So who are the digital navigators? Here in the Hudson Valley, the way that we run our program is that they are individuals who work for or are closely affiliated with an organization and will take on digital navigator work in addition to their regularly assigned duties. So there are some digital navigator programs where they hire somebody full-time and they directly manage those digital navigators. We don't run our program that way. We run it that we create a contract with your organization so that you can add digital navigator services onto the work that you're already doing. So that's why it makes sense that the people in the Digital Navigators of the Hudson Valley are individuals who work with the public at a library, a community-based organization, or a facility. And they are individuals who are comfortable with technology, but not necessarily experts in the field. So this is not the Genius Bar, this is not the Geek Squad, this is more of the social safety net, this is more of the like reference interview. This is helping people find solutions to their questions, to their problems, answers to their questions, solutions to their problems. So at this point, and I know we have Gabrielle here from the Millbrook Library, and we had some other testimonials. So we just wanted to give Gabrielle a chance and the others to say a little bit about what being a digital navigator have meant to them. And I know, Gabrielle, we only have you for a short time, so I wanted to make sure to give you a chance to say hello before too late.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm actually going to like a digital navigator related thing after that. So it all bleeds into each other. So hi, I'm Gabrielle Esposito. I'm from the Millbrook Library. My pronouns are she, her. I was in the second Digital Navigators cohort, and then I was also a mentor in the third cohort. So when I joined the second cohort, I was 2 weeks into my position, my very first library position as an adult programming librarian in Beacon. My assistant director was in the first cohort, and she really encouraged me to kind of get involved with the program. She said it was really great. And I really thought it was important to learn a librarian's role, what it is in a tech sense, because again, we were already kind of doing that work. So I wanted to get a deeper understanding. So of course I was accepted and I started to attend the meetings with Abby and Lo and Carolyn. And there were a few things that kind of immediately struck me about the digital navigators. The first, of course, were all the sources that we were learning about. I didn't know anything about ACP, especially as a newer librarian. And I certainly didn't learn about the other things that kind of came up, like GCF Learn Free was a new resource for me. And I still kind of use the things that I learned there to kind of influence the computer classes that I teach at Millbrook Library. And the second thing that really struck me was the community that digital navigators have given me. It's really nice to attend those meetings and kind of commiserate about the things that we're dealing with, the interactions that we have, and kind of learn from people who have similar experiences to me. As digital navigators, I feel like we kind of get some recognition for the work that we're doing as well. In this cohort, we get a stipend, which is really nice. At Millbrook Library, we're going to use that money to purchase job kits that are going to go into our library of things so that people can have the job research tools to kind of maybe get on their feet again. We're going to purchase a couple of Chromebooks, cell phones, USB drives, and Wi-Fi hotspots with our stipend to make those kits. And being a digital navigator is kind of exciting, especially in this atmosphere. We're kind of right on the edge where legislators are realizing that technology is an inalienable right. And as digital navigators, we have the credibility to be a larger part of that conversation because we're on the ground and kind of getting the invaluable experiences to kind of say to the higher ups, well, people may not need that, but they certainly need this. So as a digital navigator, you can kind of throw your weight around and make changes, not just on a patron level, but also potentially on a legislative level. In short, it's just a really great program. This is my third time participating, and the program has definitely gotten better with age. In this cohort, we're learning new and different things to kind of deepen our knowledge, which I really appreciate. So I definitely recommend that you take advantage of it.
Thanks, Gabrielle. That's awesome. We love having you as part of the program too. So one of the benefits of being a digital navigator is that you get to be part of the whole cohort. So you get to work with other great and inspiring people like Gabrielle. So appreciate it. And we also have testimonials from Jackie and Toby. I believe that neither of them was able to be here, but I don't see the full participant list. Or Toby or Jackie, are either of you here? Okay, so what I have is they both sent me a quote, and that is just like a wall of text. And I'm not going to read it for all of the reasons of saving my voice and saving you all having to absorb all that, but I will send out the slides afterwards, and we're recording this so you can take a look at what Jackie had to say about being a digital navigator. And this is what Toby had to say about being a digital navigator. And both of them, you know, appreciated their experience. So the next thing I want to go on to is talking a little bit about the timeline of our program. And we are structuring this current iteration of Digital Navigators in a quarterly ongoing admission process. So we started with a fall cohort, and that was a little bit special, where we just brought in people who had already been through the Digital Navigator program, so we didn't have to retrain anybody. Hold on, I'm getting a call from the school nurse.
Carolyn, I'll jump in.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so I apologize, though. I was just sending a thank you to Gabrielle. So I'm not sure what Carolyn said first, but I'm just going to real quick start. So
wait, yeah. Megan,
yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. They just needed school forms.
Perfect. Okay, back to you.
All right, thank you. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, so we started off with the fall cohort, and this winter cohort is going to go from January to March, and then there will be a spring cohort and a summer cohort. So if this isn't the right time for you right now, there will be another chance. And if you really like it and you want to join up again, you are welcome to apply more than once. We are somewhat limited by our funding, and we're trying to space people out with geography. So it's not a guarantee that we'll be able to accept everyone who applies, but we'll do our best to try to get as many people in as possible. So the applications for the winter cohort are due on the 19th at 12, and that is a hard deadline. We're not going to be able to extend that because we'll need to meet and talk about making sure that we do have the right proportion of people. And then once you're accepted, you're going to get a contract. So we need some time to get those contracts together. We will let you know as soon as we possibly can that you've been accepted. I don't have a date on that yet, so I don't want to make any promises, because once you're accepted on your own time, you'll receive a link to an evergreen recording that is done by Lo and Abby at NDIA. So that will be your first introduction, and you'll be required to do that before the training sessions start. And those training sessions will be they'll be on the 9th, 10th, and 11th. And they're all at 2 p.m. And then by the end of that, your signed contracts are due. And then as soon as you finish training, you'll start the Digital Navigator work on the 12th of January. And then you have from January 12th until March 30th to do your Digital Navigator work and hand in all of your paperwork. And then we start again with the next cohort. So this is what happens in the training sessions with NDIA. There will be an introduction and discussion around the field of digital inclusion and how and why the Digital Navigator program is important. We'll be talking about the audience, the clients that you're meeting with, and how to use the forms. So every time you meet with a client, you'll fill out a form about your interaction. We'll talk about what it looks like to be a digital navigator. You'll be learning skills and resources and learning about specific websites that have information about broadband and technology. And finally, we'll be accessing information about digital equity and how to use data from the American Community Survey, which is the sort of the data that we have on where there is broadband access and where things are lacking, so that you can meet your community's needs. And then we're going to talk about getting data from the clients and what we do with that data. So the implementation phase, that's that time period between the end of your training and when your paperwork is all due. So during that time, you will receive professionally made marketing materials. We will host bi-weekly office hours meetings with everybody. So that will be the navigators that are currently under contract, and also active navigators are people who've been through the program but aren't currently under contract. They are also always invited to the office hours meetings. Once a month, they're hosted by NDIA, and once a month, they're hosted by me, Kirsten, Megan, and Linda. And you'll have an access to a resource list that you can use that'll have information about broadband and device acquisition and digital literacy. And during that time, you're expected to meet with at least 5 clients. And then for each interaction, we ask that you fill in an intake form to talk about the interaction, and then a session summary to talk about what changes you've made, or like what kind of resolution you've had with the problem that the client came in with. So being successful in the program means that you use an intake form and an exit form, which is also now called a session summary, describing the client's need and how you address the need. The meetings can be, you can schedule it however you want. You can schedule drop-in hours, or you can do appointments, whatever works best for you and your institution. We'll need to see that you met with at least 5 clients in that time. Even more is better. You'll need to attend the 2 office hours calls a month. And if for some reason, we know life happens and things come up, so if you can't make a meeting, we just want to make sure that you can attest that that you've read the notes from the meeting. You'll need to dedicate at least 5 hours of time to research on your own. And that is something that navigators were doing anyway, but we just wanted to put it into words because we wanted to make sure that your organization has buy-in and knows that that you're spending more time on this. We want to make sure that you engage with the listserv, which means that, so all of the navigators are on an email listserv, and that's where we can email with each other. So we want to make sure that at least once during this implementation time, you're either asking a question, answering a question, or just sharing information about your experience. And then once you do all that, in addition to, there's one more set of requirements. Everybody who goes through the program will receive a $500 investment incentive for the quarter. And that $500 is paid to your institution. So Gabrielle talked a little bit about what they use the money for. They sort of put it forward to investing in their digital equity infrastructure. You could use it, your organization can use it for whatever you want to use it for, but it does compensate for the time that you spend as a digital navigator. So the $500 is somewhat based on prevailing wage and how many hours you are putting into this work. So what we're doing is compensating your organization for the time that you spent working as a digital navigator. And then this is just additional requirements from here. This is an extra thing that we added for the Digital Navigator program this session, because we want to make sure that you are engaging with the community. The digital navigation shouldn't happen in a vacuum. You should be promoting your service to the community. You should be collaborating with other institutions. You should be talking to your elected officials about this, and with the other digital, and a voice for this larger of digital equity. So everyone who's under contract is required to do one of these extra things. And it's a little bit of choose your own adventure. So whatever makes sense for you in the time that you're doing it. And real quick, I did mention that will be getting marketing materials. So I wanted to let you know that there will be bookmarks, flyers, posters, buttons, stand-up banners, and social media posts that are like ready to go, like just post and go. And we will send those to you when the cohort starts. I just got right now we're working with a marketing firm, and they just sort of they're in the process of finalizing some of the copy on that stuff. So we will have some of those things ready to go right away, and some of them will be coming to you, and they'll be personalized. Okay, cool. So now I've ended the formal part of my slides. And Megan, I know that you had something that you wanted to say, and I wanted to spend some time doing Q&A for any of you who might want to know more about the program. And these are, I'm going to leave this up here while Megan says her piece, so that you can jot down our contact information if you need it.
Thanks, Carolyn. Yeah, I just wanted to take a minute to kind of give you all my pitch, because I've been thinking about it, and I'm new to RCLS relatively. It's 6 months now this week, which is crazy to think about. But a year ago, when the first cohort came around and it was presented to me, I looked at it and I thought, I already do this. I don't have time for this. We're already doing this kind of work. We help people with their technology all the time. And you do in the library, on the reference desk, on the circulation desk, you help people with all kinds of things. The distinction here is that what you do, what you learn as a digital navigator, what you're doing by being a navigator and accepting this kind of role in your organization, is you're going beyond helping people print, helping people figure out just how to attach a photo to their phone in a text message kind of thing. This is, when you recognize, and again, a lot of librarians are already doing this, you're recognizing that people can't apply for jobs now if they don't know how to use the internet, or if they don't know how to sign into their email or reset their email because they don't know their password. There's a lot of this work that goes into helping people just participate in society. And there's so much of it that's digital. And this is helping people who want to participate learn, get access, get affordable access, and learn how to be savvy. It's having those conversations with people, repeat conversations with people, so that you set them up with an email one week, and the next week you're teaching them not to answer the scammers and send out your social security number. Those kinds of things. It's beyond just here's how you print. Okay. Even more important than that, because again, I know library staff, which is primarily our group here, but not exclusively, you are already doing that on a regular basis. It's still important to do this because of the feedback we get. We're asking you to do these forms. You do the forms for people. We're now tracking this help that you've given. We're putting that together. We're telling the legislators, look at the good work people are doing. And then the legislators are saying, well, it's really important that technology is being addressed, and we're addressing the digital divide. And I want to do more of that in my district. I'm going to vote to increase the budget for libraries. And then we get more money and we can do more programs like this. And then you guys tell us more stories, and the cycle of funding goes on. So I know you're doing this, but it's important that you tell us you're doing this so that we can tell them, and then they can continue to support us. You don't have to do the program. You can do the work. You don't have to tell us, but then we don't have your stories, and that's the cycle. So that's my pitch, is we know that you guys are working hard, but we want to develop this program as a way of capturing that data in an effective way to keep the support going. All right, that's my spiel.
That's awesome. Thank you, Megan. All right, I'm going to stop the share because I saw there was some chat stuff that came in while we were talking. And basically open it up if anybody has questions. we can usual Zoom stuff. You can either raise your hand or drop it in the chat, or just unmute and speak. Megan, do you want to go over what you and Jenny were? Was there anything in the chat between you and Jenny?
Sure. Yeah, I had started typing up an answer, but didn't get to finish. So the first question, Jenny had asked in the program that is the training unpaid? So, and if you guys have already read my answer, then you know that yes, technically the individuals are not paid, but the program is designed to be have our trainers, our digital navigators, be people who are already employed at organizations that are doing work with clients, customers, patrons, whatever you want to call them, but individuals in the community members. So the idea is that you're getting paid, you're doing the training while you're on work time, and then you're doing the interactions with your customer base, however you want to think of it, also during work time. So it's not unpaid, but it's not additionally paid. However, there is this incentive that we will pay to your organization if you complete the program. You do your 5 interactions, you do all your participations, you watch all the recordings, and come to the office hours, all of those things. If you do all of that, you successfully finish, then there's a $500 incentive payment that we will make to your organization, which is what Gabby was talking about earlier, when she was saying, you know, they use that money to buy Chromebooks and USB drives and hotspots, things like that. And it doesn't have to go towards digital things. I mean, your organization could use that money for whatever they need. The idea there is that it's an incentive for them to allow you to participate. And one of the comments that I made to Jenny is it's mutually beneficial because, you know, yes, they're going to get some money and they can do whatever they want so that you are allowed to participate. But in return, you know, you're getting this interesting, hopefully, beneficial training that you are going to turn around and use to just better serve your population. So that's like free training to them for you to do your job better. So it kind of goes both directions with helping everybody. Jenny did follow up with a question that I thought was an interesting one. She wanted to know, what if there are qualified candidates in an immigrant non-English speaking population who are working maybe at like a car wash, and the car wash, the host organization, has no knowledge or interest in digital equity? And I was starting to type up a response and I wanted to clarify. So Jenny, if you're nearby and want to jump in, I'm assuming that what you're saying is that the person who wants to sign up to be a digital navigator and take our training is the immigrant non-English speaker. Is that right? Am I getting that right? I'll give you 1 second for a thumbs up and then I'll just keep going. Okay, maybe you can't answer me right now. So assuming that that's the case.
You're correct. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So what I was going to actually ask Carolyn for a little bit of help here too. But what I would say is I would encourage that person to maybe hook up with their local library and see if maybe they could work with the library as a volunteer. I know we have some hesitations about having library volunteers do this, but I think depending on, like you said, it's an otherwise qualified person. I would probably say that we want them to go through an organization that is also doing this kind of work, because we're not going to want to just give $500 to the car wash if they're not doing this kind of work. You know, our goal here is to help work with people who can help other people solve digital divide type issues and digital equity issues. And that situation, I don't think would work. But if that individual is motivated enough, we could try to help them find a way to participate. What do you think, Carolyn? Am I on the right track?
Yes, although I have to say being linked to the institution is just the way that we are set up with this program. It does work the best when you have the strong backing of an institution, because you will need to spend a lot of time doing this work. It takes a little bit of time. Especially if you're a little bit new to digital equity, or you feel like you want to spend a lot of time learning about the different ways to help people with technology. It doesn't work unless you've got that kind of backing. So, and it also, it helps if you're in an institution where you're already seeing members of the public. So that's why libraries are a great fit, but also anywhere where if you're like a community-based organization where you have regular clients who are coming in and you're already meeting with them about their various like social work kind of issues, then Digital Navigator can fold into that quite organically. But like in a situation like with a car wash where people wouldn't necessarily be coming in asking for help signing up for broadband access, that's a bit of a heavier lift.
So Jenny has added to the chat here some additional details. I don't know if you saw that, Carolyn, that they are hooked up with the Ulster County Immigrant Defense Network, but they would risk losing their job at the car wash. I feel like we're talking about it, maybe a specific situation that we could talk about sometime and try to figure out how we could work that out.
Yeah, I
if
think
possible.
that's a good idea. If there's someone, we don't want to spend too much time getting into people's very specific circumstances, but that's why you have our contact information if there's any question about is this a good fit or not, because we have had some questions in the past from individuals who wanted to do this just as an individual, or people who were volunteers without a set schedule, and that wasn't a fit because there wasn't a way to pay the organization. So this is not a job. This is an additional set of responsibilities to add on to the work that you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. Please reach out and we'll talk about that some more.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions or like clarifying things about timeline? Oh, good question, Marge. What base level of technology skills would you recommend a potential navigator have? There isn't a specific technology. It's more of the attitude that you are comfortable with technology or that you're willing to learn about things. You don't have to know how to jailbreak an iPhone. You don't have, but it does kind of help if you know what jailbreaking an iPhone is. Be like, you don't have to know the deep settings of Word or Google Docs, but you should know how to access them and how to use services like internet search to find the answers that you're looking for. And that's why, for those of you, some of you have gone through the application already, but we and I had it handy here and I've lost it now. But the questions that we ask you to see if you are if you're right for this, it's not how much technology you have, it's how much are you willing to learn and how much are you open and receptive to new information. And you'll have the entire cohort of digital navigators to back you up if you run into a technology stumbling block. And that's why the listserv is available to you and active. So if you get somebody who's coming in and they are they're asking like, how do I sign up for an email address and I don't have a phone number? That's a very specific question that came up on the last cohort. And you're doing some Googling and you're not finding how to sign up for an email service without having a phone. You can send an email to the listserv and say, is anyone familiar with this? And then, one of your other navigators might answer and say, oh yeah, there's a thing called Proton Mail, and Proton Mail doesn't need a phone, or you can sign up for Google Voice and get a free phone number, and then that will get you a back end to getting the email. So that's the kind of you have this whole cohort of support to help you with any tech questions that you might not be able to answer. All right, so I hope that answers your question about the tech. You do not need to be an expert, you just need to be curious and you need to be willing to learn some things and open to new ideas. So
and Carolyn, I was going to add to that list patience. You have to have a little patience to deal with the people who are coming in. And sometimes they ask the same question. Sometimes they're asking a question that you think everybody knows, but they don't. So it definitely, as Carolyn said, the very first thing is attitude.
Yes. And thank you, Megan, for dropping the the application in the chat. That also kind of answers Carol's question about when does the program meet. It does set times. Application ask you to that you meet at those times, because it's okay if you need to miss one meeting or a little bit of the training if life happens and things come up, but we are asking you to prioritize the meetings and the training sessions and to like be fully there. So if you are, if it's happening at the same time that you're supposed to be working on the desk, our ask of you is to take that time, like to ask your supervisor, like, this is my Digital Navigator meeting time. I'd like to prioritize this. I'd like to be fully present at that meeting. So it's not that many hours out of a 3-month period. It's I think it's 4 or 5 meeting office hours, and it's 6 hours of training. But they are at set times. The only thing that is on your own is we have the on-demand video, and you can watch that on your own time. And as far as meeting with clients, that is your own time too. That you can have a schedule that the Digital Navigator is in on like Tuesdays at 2 o'clock, or you can have an appointment booking like that. That can happen whenever you want it to. Okay, that got resolved in the chat. Are there any other questions?
Carolyn, could you show or send, because I know that I sent the link to like the big schedule of all the DN things, but I know that there's one specific to this cohort. Well, not specific, but just so they have all like the specific dates to what they have to go to. The one online, it goes through October. The one that was on your slideshow. You don't have to send it now, but maybe
it's on the application.
Oh, there we go.
That's probably the best way to view it from here. And Linda, if you're able to pull that up, I can answer Susan's question about, is there a certain amount of time that you have to meet with the 5 people? Do you mean, Susan, do you mean as far as like how long the meeting needs to be?
I just answered assuming that she meant what's the duration of time during which you can have those interactions.
Yeah, that's within the 3 months. And the interactions, time-wise, like, okay, great. And I guess I'll answer the other question too while we're at it. Most Navigator interactions are between 45 minutes and an hour. Originally we were like, we gave people like 15-minute increments. We thought that it would be more simple than that, but like Megan said, you need a lot of patience. So sometimes it's a little bit of just trying to help somebody find their passwords and figure out a way to like log into accounts that they haven't logged into in a very long time. So it's good to set aside 45 minutes to an hour for each interaction that you have with the Digital Navigators, with the clients. And we encourage people to have follow-up. So you meet with them again. One of the things that we'll talk about in the training is that there's a difference between a Digital Navigator interaction and like a normal sort of like library interaction for those of you who work in libraries and answer a lot of tech questions. This is not helping somebody to print. This is not necessarily helping somebody to like format their resume. This is teaching somebody how printing works. This is teaching somebody how Word works so that they can do it on their own the next time they need to do it. It's not just solving their problem, it's helping them integrate digital literacy into their everyday life so that the next time these things come up, they can do it on their own. It's helping them get their own devices so that they don't always have to rely on library or institutional devices, helping people with the affordable connectivity programs so that they can get discounts on broadband at home so that they don't always have to be in an institution to access their email, or using mobile to do everything. Okay, Gia's question. Can you design your own graphics with the Digital Navigator logo? Or do we have to prefer use the pre-made social graphics to count as additional requirement? Oh, great question. When you're accepted as a digital navigator, you'll have access to a LibGuide that we put together that has all of the social media resources on it. So one thing we would ask is like, please use the Digital Navigator logo as much as you can, but you are welcome to be creative and flexible with it. Actually just got a really cool flyer that that Jackie, who gave her testimonial at Mountaintop, she used some of the graphics that we had and she integrated them into their own graphics. You can, if you have like branding at your library that needs to be a certain way, you can follow the guidelines of your library. We just ask that you don't like change the colors of our logo or like change like fonts too much or anything like that. But yeah, you can use the wording and alter it to your purposes, like whatever you need to make it sound like authentic to your library is good with us. Let it
So-
breathe. Yeah.
Oh, was somebody else going to say something? Oh, all right. I just was going to say something real quick going on the logo question. At RCLS, we just did a Libby call to action campaign. So if any of you are in RCLS and you look at Libby, there's like a banner at the top of Libby. And I know we talked about it with the other systems, so I think they're going to do it too. I don't know if that's live yet, but you'll see that was something that we did here at RCLS to let people who use Libby know, like, hey, this Digital Navigators is a thing. And an interesting thing that we discussed here in-house before doing that is if we're advertising in Libby, are we already reaching people who know how to use technology? And our goal with that is, well, maybe, but those people who know technology are the ones that their friends are asking for help. And it might just be nice for them to know, hey, this Digital Navigators is a thing and you've got a question I can't answer. So it's just another way of helping to spread the word. But like I said, if you get a chance, that was something that, you know, me and the marketing guy here at RCLS, we were like, let's advertise this over here. What can we do with this to make it fit? Where else can we put it? Just to help spread awareness. And I did see there's another question there, Carolyn. Do you want to do it or?
Sure. Yes, because that's a good question too. Do the clients need to meet in person or can they be assisted via email or phone call? We don't have a strict rule about that. Usually it's in person. But if you have somebody who's homebound or otherwise, you know, has accessibility issues that prevent them from coming into your organization, we wouldn't turn someone away if they had an email or a phone call or like a Zoom chat. We just ask that the interaction sort of rise to the level of Digital Navigator. So if someone was emailing you to be like, hey, can you help me with this real quick? And like you've like fixed it real quick, that wouldn't be much of a change in their understanding of technology or like life status. But if we don't want to exclude people who might not be able to personally show up in the building. And I mean, like I said, there are many different models of Digital Navigator programs. Some of them do house calls in other places, but that isn't the way that we're set up for most of our organizations who join as Digital Navigators. They work in the institution. But if that is the case that happens with you, you know, and if you're ever a question, if something sort of rises to the Digital Navigator status or not, like we can work that out with you. All right, are there just like letting it simmer for a second to see if there's other questions. Out of curiosity, while we're waiting, how many of you here, just by like show of hands or in the chat, how many of you have applied already for this cohort? Teresa. Oh, cool. Okay. That's great. You know, like I said, if you haven't applied yet, like we hope we hope that you can, it's okay. Oh, yeah, here. Hold on one second. Sorry,
Jenny,
just had
we
it, yeah.
couldn't hear. We were just asking how many people had already applied, Jenny. I don't know if you could hear it now.
Okay. Yeah, so what I guess what I wanted to say was, as I said in the beginning, we would love to take as many people as we can. I'm not sure if we'll, right now we've had a pretty robust response to our first call before we even did this info session. So you have some more time to think about it. If for whatever reason, if we can't accept you in this round, we would be glad to, ask you to apply again and hope that you can, maybe we can get you into the spring or the summer cohorts. And what we're really hoping is to keep this program going in sort of more perpetuity. Those of you might know that we are currently working with the Connect All office in Albany, and working with their digital equity plan, which just was released, and the public comment section this public comments are open until tomorrow. So there's going to be millions of dollars coming from the state in the next few years. So hopefully we'll be able to get some of that and keep this program going, because so far we've seen some pretty fantastic outcomes. But for now, what we know is that this is going to be good through October 2024. So we're hoping to get as many of you involved as we can. And Pam, did you have a question, or is your hand still raised from the application? All right. Okay. So not seeing any more questions coming through, but you can always email us and ask anything. I'm really hoping to have some of you in this next cohort or some of your coworkers. Very much appreciate you being here today, and we recorded this, so we will send this out. Jenny asked if we recruit from schools, not necessarily, because we need people who meet with the public, but there are some exceptions to that. All right, I think I'm not seeing any other questions coming through. So I'll have this recording up as soon as I can, and you can please feel free to share it with anyone who might be interested, and send in your application, send in your questions, and we will be in touch in January when we get this going again. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, system staff people. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.